Bible in a Year Life, Chronological Project, Week 34, Day 4, Amplified Bible. Water from the Temple. Then he, my guide, brought me back to the door of the house, the temple of the Lord, and behold, water was flowing from under the threshold of the house, temple, toward the east. For the front of the temple was facing east. The water was flowing down from under, from the right side of the house, from the south of the altar. Then he brought me out by way of the north gate, and led me around on the outside to the outer gate by way of the gate that faces east. And behold, water was sprouting out from the south side of the gate. When the man went out toward the east with a measuring line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he led me through the water that was ankle deep. Again he measured 1,000 cubits, and led me through the water that was knee deep. Again he measured 1,000 cubits, and led me through the water reaching the hips. Again he measured 1,000 cubits, and it was a river that I could not pass through, for the water had risen, enough water to swim in, a river that could not be crossed by wading. And he said to me, Son of man, have you seen this? Then he brought me back to the bank of the river. Now, when I had returned, behold, on the bank of the river were very many trees on the one side and on the other. Then he said to me, These waters go out toward the eastern region and go down into Arba, the Jordan Valley. Then they go toward the sea, being made to flow into the sea, and the waters of the Dead Sea shall be healed and become fresh. It will come about that every living creature which swarms in every place where the river goes will live. And there will be a very great number of fish, because these waters go there, so that waters of the sea are healed and become fresh. So everything will live wherever the river goes. And it will come about that fishermen will stand beside it at the banks of the Dead Sea. From En-Gedi to En-Eglaim, there will be dry places to spread nets. Their fish will be of very many kinds, like the fish of the great Mediterranean Sea. But its swamps and marshes will not become fresh and wholesome for animal life. They will, as the river subsides, be left encrusted with salt. By the river on its banks, on one side and on the other, will grow all kinds of trees for food. Their leaves will not wither, and their fruit will not fail. They shall bear every month, because their water flows from the sanctuary, and their fruit will be for food, and their leaves for healing. Boundaries and division of the land. Thus says the Lord God, This shall be the boundary by which you shall divide the land as an inheritance among the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph shall be 2 portions. You shall divide it as an inheritance, each one equally with the other. I lifted up my hand and swore to give it to your fathers, and this land shall fall to you as an inheritance. And this shall be the boundary of the land on the north side, from the great Mediterranean Sea by way of Hethlon to the entrance of Zedad, Hamath, Berahath, Sibraim, which is between the border of Damascus and the border of Hamath, as far as Hazar Hattikon, which is on the border of Haran. So the boundary will extend from the Mediterranean Sea to Hazar Enan at the border of Damascus. On the northward is the border of Hamath. This is the north side. The east side, from between Huran, Damascus, Gilead, and the land of Israel, shall be the Jordan. From the north border to the eastern sea you shall measure. This is the east side. The south side, southward from Tamar, near the Dead Sea, shall extend as far as the waters of Meribah Kadesh, to the brook of Egypt, and to the great Mediterranean Sea. This is the south side towards the south. The west side shall be the great Mediterranean Sea, from the south border to a point opposite Lebo Hamath, north of Mount Hermon. This is the west side. You shall divide this land among yourselves according to the tribes of Israel. You shall divide it by lot as an inheritance among yourselves and among the foreigners who stay among you, who give birth to sons among you. They shall be to you as a native born in the country, among the children, descendants of Israel. They shall be allotted an inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. In whatever tribe the foreigner resides, there shall you give him his inheritance, says the Lord God. Division of the land. Now, these are the names of the tribes from the north end, beside the way of Hethlon to Lebo Hamath, as far as Hazar Eron, which is on the northern border of Damascus, besides Hamath, and running from the east to the west. Dan, one portion. Beside the border of Dan, from the east side to the west side, Asher, one portion. Beside the border of Asher, from the east side to the west side, Naphtali, one portion. Beside the border of Naphtali, from the east side to the west side, Manasseh, one portion. Beside the border of Manasseh, from the east side to the west side, Ephraim, one portion. Beside the border of Ephraim, from the east side to the west side, Reuben, one portion. Beside the border of Reuben, from the east side to the west side, Judah, one portion. And beside the border of Judah, from the east side to the west side, shall be the allotment and contribution of the land which you shall set apart, and offer 25,000 cubits in width and in length like one of the tribal portions, from the east side to the west side. And the sanctuary shall be in the midst of it. And the allotment of land that you shall set apart and offer to the Lord shall be 25,000 cubits in length and 10,000 in width. Portion for the priest. The holy allotment shall be for these, namely for the priest, toward the north 25,000 cubits in length, and toward the west 10,000 in width, and toward the east 10,000 in width, and toward the south 25,000 in length. And the sanctuary of the Lord shall be in the midst of it. It shall be for the priests who are sanctified of the sons of Zadok, who have kept my charge, and who did not go astray when the children, descendants of Israel, went astray, as the other Levites did. And this land offering shall be an allotment to them from the allotment of the land, a most holy portion beside the border of the other Levites. Alongside the border of the priests, the other Levites shall have 25,000 cubits in length and 10,000 in width. The whole length shall be 25,000 cubits, and the width 10,000. And they shall not sell any of it or exchange it, or allow this choice portion of land to pass to others, for it is holy to the Lord. The remaining strip of 5,000 cubits in width and 25,000 in length shall be for the city's common secular use, for a place in which to live and for open country. The city shall be in the midst of it. These shall be the measurements of it: the north side 4,500 cubits, the south side 4,500, the east side 4,500, and the west side 4,500. The city shall have open country, toward the north 250 cubits, and toward the south 250 cubits, towards the east 250, and toward the west 250. The remainder of the length alongside the holy allotment shall be 10,000 cubits to the east and 10,000 cubits to the west, and it shall be beside the holy allotment. The produce from it shall be food for the workers of the city. The workers of the city from all the tribes of Israel shall cultivate it. The whole allotment shall be 25,000 by 25,000 cubits. You shall set apart the holy allotment, a square, with the property of the city. The portion for the prince. The remainder on both sides of the holy allotment and of the property possessed by the city shall belong to the prince. In front of the 25,000 cubits of the allotment toward the east border, and westward in front of the 25,000 toward the west border, alongside the tribal portions, it shall be for the prince. The holy allotment with the sanctuary of the temple shall be in the midst of it, exclusive of the property of the Levites and of the property of the city, which are in the middle of that which belongs to the prince. Everything between the border of Judah and the border of Benjamin shall be for the prince. Portion for other tribes. As for the rest of the tribes, from the east side to the west side, Benjamin, one portion. Beside the border of Benjamin, from the east side to the west side, Simeon, one portion. Beside the border of Simeon, from the east side to the west side, Issachar, one portion. Beside the border of Issachar, from the east side to the west side, Zebulun, one portion. Beside the border of Zebulun, from the east side to the west side, Gad, one portion. And beside the border of Gad, at the south side, southward, the border shall extend from Tamar to the waters of Meribah Kadesh, to the brook of Egypt, to the great Mediterranean Sea. This is the land which you shall divide by lot among the tribes of Israel as their inheritance, and these are their several portions, says the Lord God. The city gates. These are the exits of the city. On the north side, which is to extend 4,500 cubits by measurement, there shall also be gates of the city, named after the names of the tribes of Israel, 3 gates towards the north, 1 gate of Reuben, 1 gate of Judah, 1 gate of Levi. On the east side, 4,500 cubits, also 3 gates, 1 gate of Joseph, 1 gate of Benjamin, 1 gate of Dan. On the south side, 4,500 cubits by measurement, also 3 gates, 1 gate of Simeon, 1 gate of Issachar, 1 gate of Zebulun. On the west side, 4,500 cubits, 3 gates, 1 gate of Gad, 1 gate of Asher, 1 gate of Naphtali. The distance around the city shall be 18,000, 4 times 4,500 cubits, and the name of the city from that day and ever after shall be, the Lord is there. In the 27th year, after King Jehoiachin was taken to Babylon, in the first month, on the first of the month, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon made his army work hard at my command against Tyre. Every soldier's head became bald, and every shoulder was worn and peeled from carrying loads of dirt and stones from siege works. Yet he had no wages from Tyre in proportion to the time and labor expended during the siege, either for himself or his armies, for the work that he had done against it for me. Therefore, thus says the Lord God, Behold, I will give the land of Egypt to Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, and he will carry off her wealth and capture her spoil and seize her plunder, and it shall be the wages for his army. I have given him the land of Egypt for the hard work which he did against Tyre, because they did it for me, says the Lord God. In that day I will make a horn sprout for the house of Israel, and I will open your mouth among them, and they will know without any doubt that I am the Lord when I renew their strength. Dirge for Egypt. The word of the Lord came again to me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus says the Lord God, Wail, alas, for the day is near, even the day of the Lord is near. It will be a cloudy day, a time of doom for the nations. A sword will come upon Egypt, and anguish and trembling will be in Ethiopia, Cush. When the slain fall in Egypt, and they of Babylon carry away her great mass of people and her riches, and her foundations are torn down. Ethiopia, Cush, Put, Lud, and all Arabia, Libya, Cub, and the people of the land of the covenant, the Jews who had taken refuge in Egypt, will fall with the Egyptians by the sword. Thus says the Lord. Those who uphold and support Egypt will fall, and the pride of her power will come down. From Migdol in the north to Sin in the south, they will fall within her by the sword, says the Lord God. And they will be desolate in the midst of countries that are desolated, and her cities will be among cities that are devastated by plunder and slavery. And they will know without any doubt that I am the Lord, when I have set a fire in Egypt, and all her helpers are shattered and destroyed. On that day, swift messengers will go from me in ships to frighten the careless and unsuspecting Ethiopians, and there will be anguish and trembling in them as in the day of judgment for Egypt, for behold, it is coming. Thus says the Lord God, I will also make the great people of Egypt cease by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, he and his people with him, the most violent and ruthless of the nations, will be brought in to destroy the land, and they will draw their swords against Egypt and fill the land with the slain. And I will make the rivers of the Nile delta dry and sell the land into the hands of evil men. I will make the land desolate and all that is in it. By the hand of strangers, I, the Lord, have spoken. Thus says the Lord God. I will also destroy the idols, and I will put an end to the images of Memphis. There will no longer be a prince of the land of Egypt, and I will put fear in the land of Egypt. I will make Pathros desolate, set fire to Zoan, and execute judgments and punishments on Thebes. I will pour out my wrath on Pelusium, the stronghold of Egypt, and I will cut off, destroy the population of Thebes. I will set fire to Egypt. Pelusium will writhe in great anguish. Thebes shall be torn open, and Memphis shall be in daily distress. The young men of On, Avin, and of Pibeseth will fall by the sword, and the women and children will go into captivity. In Tehaphanes the day will be dark, when I break the yoke bars and dominion of Egypt there. Then the pride of her power will come to an end. A cloud of disaster will cover her, and her daughters will go into captivity. In this way I will bring judgment and punishment on Egypt. Then they shall know without a doubt that I am the Lord. Now it came about in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, on the 27th day of the 12th month, that evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the year that he became king, showed favor to Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and released him from prison. And he spoke kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the other kings of captive peoples who were with him in Babylon. Jehoiakim changed his prison clothes for palace garments, and he dined regularly in the king's presence for the remainder of his life. And his allowance, a continual one, was given to him by the king, evil Merodach, a portion every day for the rest of his life. Now it came about in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiachin, also called Coniah and Jeconiah, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 25th of the month, evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the first year of his reign, showed favor to Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and brought him out of prison. He spoke kindly to him and gave him a throne above the thrones of the kings who were captives with him in Babylon. Jehoiachin changed his prison clothes, and he dined regularly at the king's table all the days of his life. And his allowance, a regular allowance, was given to him by the king of Babylon, a daily portion, according to his needs, until the day of his death, all the days of his life.